you're watching this and you know me, you know that I was a member of the church. I converted when I was 18 years old. I was a member for a little over 4 years, but I officially left in June, and I have a lot of opinions on the church. I think that it hurt me a lot, and I think it hurts a lot of people that are still members. And today I just wanted to share my own thoughts about a specific issue. Today, I really wanted to talk about the church's Give Thanks campaign with the hashtag Give Thanks. A lot of people like this campaign, and mostly I think the people that don't like it are ex-Mormons. A lot of people dislike it, and I'm here to talk about why I, as an ex-Mormon, dislike it, because I know that there are ex-Mormons that like it too, and that's okay. I think that there are good things that have come out of this campaign, and I'm not saying that this is completely bad, and these are my personal views. These are things that I see wrong with the church. These are critiques I've always had, and a lot of them have just been reinforced by the campaign. So let's just get into my list. One of the main problems that people are having with this campaign, whether or not people are making good posts, is that the church doesn't often have devotionals, and the church doesn't often speak on such a large platform. But the prophet, President Russell M. Nelson, just came out with a devotional on Friday, and a lot of people were looking forward to it, thinking, what is he gonna say? We don't always have devotionals like this. This is special. And the church was sending out advertising saying that he had a really important message to share. So, with COVID-19 having its second large surge, I guess you could say, with COVID filling up hospitals to capacity, having the highest cases almost everywhere in the country, having the highest amount of new cases, I think a lot of people were expecting the prophet of their church, or of the church that they used to belong to say something that would be helpful to the people who are being affected in such large ways by this pandemic right now. I think that a lot of people were looking for him to tell people to wear a mask, to tell people to stay inside. And that's not really what we got out of this campaign. And I think that the whole give thanks message is a little bit contradictory and kind of hurts those things. Even if the prophet of the church does care about those things and wants people to stay at home and wear a mask, the hashtag Give Thanks is taking up space on social media that could be for information about COVID, that could be for important information about the pandemic and how to stay home and how to be healthy and how to receive aid that you need. But the church came out and said, we're going through a difficult time, we need to give thanks. That's not a bad thing, but what about those people who have been affected by the pandemic in such large ways, where they've lost a family member, or maybe they've gotten into a divorce, or maybe they're having issues with their marriage because of income changes, or because of the time that they're spending at home? What about people who may have lost their children, or grandparents who are having a really hard time teaching their kids? The Give Thanks hashtag is allowing for people who are still able to enjoy their lives right now, basically throw that into other people's faces. I know that there are going to be a lot of Mormons saying, that's not what we meant to do, that's not our intention, but that's not what it comes down to at the end of the day. The actions of the prophets are not nearly as important as the impact. We have someone that is in power, that Mormons believe is called of God, and in times of need, he should be the one that's able to understand impact before it even happens, And he is also responsible for investigating Impact himself. And this Impact, essentially, is hurting people who have been through lots of hardships this year, because they see people posting, "I'm grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for my spouse, and I'm grateful for my job." For those people who have lost things, of course they still have things to be grateful for, but asking someone to show gratitude when you are a church with an extreme amount of funds and a lot of power over the people in Utah, you should be looking out for those people that are hurting extra right now, not the people who are having an average experience. So that's one of the issues that I have, is that a lot of people are posting give thanks for their family, and there are just a lot of people who don't have their family anymore, or a lot of people who can't see their family because of the pandemic. It's just really hurtful when there are a lot of members of the church who won't wear a mask, who won't stay at home, who are fighting for BYU to repeal their mandate, you need to wear masks. They're asking them to repeal their rule. And I just think that those kind of people being thankful for their family right now, it's extremely rude to people who have lost their family members because people wouldn't stay inside and because people wouldn't wear a mask. Utah is definitely a tricky place, and it doesn't represent all Mormons, but that's a big issue with Mormons. A lot of Mormons are Republicans, and a lot of Mormons follow this Republican idea that freedom is essentially making your own decisions about everything, when it's not. We're giving people the freedom to be healthy and leave their homes if we are staying home when we don't need to, and if we are wearing a mask. Yeah, I could say a lot more about that, but I'm gonna move on to my next issue. And one of the other issues that I have with this campaign is that members of the church don't need this campaign very much. And I feel like this campaign, whether or not this was the intention, this campaign has a large effect on people who have stopped going to church or who have already left. Because when you've been a member of the church, even if you've gone like a couple times and didn't join, there are a lot of people on your social media that are members, and you scroll through your feed and there are hundreds of people saying, "I'm thankful for my eternal family. I'm thankful for my eternal temple marriage. I'm thankful for the temple. I'm thankful for baby blessings. I'm thankful for prayer." All of these things that to people who've left the church, they can't be included in those. So when people who aren't members, people who are inactive, see that stuff, it's kind of just like, oh, so you're telling me that you're extremely thankful for these things that you wouldn't let me have. Especially for people who are gay or trans. The whole LGBTQ plus community doesn't have the same access to those things. So reading that as someone of that community, it's violent. It's violence to say, "I'm thankful for this thing that I don't allow you to have because I don't think you're worthy enough." Again, I understand that that's not the intention, but these are the impacts, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because I think that it's important to understand impact, and it's not fair to be a member of the church and just say, "I know better than you because I know that these weren't our intentions, and this is coming out of, a place in my heart where I only mean good." Saying that isn't helpful to those members who have left or who are still a part of the church, who never had access to these things or had these things taken away from them because of their identity. So it's just not helpful to members who are denied access to those things. And I know there are lots of good members who think those people should have access, or at least partial access. But being a member, it's kind of hard to advocate, and I know that you can make better give thanks posts, and that's good, and I appreciate those, because anyone making the Mormon Church a safer place for those who are LGBTQ plus, or who are otherwise not accepted as a member of the church, it's really good to make it a safer place for them if they want to stay, if they're planning on leaving, if they don't know what they're doing. It's always better to make the church a safer place for them, and I appreciate you trying to make those people feel included. And that's what a good give thanks post would be, is something that can give space for everyone. If you say that you're thankful for something that other people don't have access to, it's not very nice. And especially when a lot of these people are trying their hardest. My next issue with the give thanks is how it contributes to perfectionism in the church. I know a lot of people who have left, who don't even have much resentment towards the church, but they left because of how perfect they were expected to be. And I know, even from my own personal experience and from what I've heard other people talk about, that you can ask members, like, do I need to be perfect? You can ask your bishop if you need to be perfect. Like, you can ask your friends if you need to be perfect, your Mormon friends, and they'll all say no. But being a member of the church, you do have to be perfect in a way. The church, I mean, these are all pretty bold claims of mine, but I stand by each of them. But the church perpetuates a lot of unhealthy behaviors or obsession with body image, and that's something that you can definitely fight against, but that's what I believe. Being a member of the church, I know that for myself, I always felt like I had to dress a certain way even if I didn't want to, because there are things that maybe are modest according to the handbook, but wearing it, people are going to look at you and say, you know, I wish that she dressed differently. Or these are even small things, they're not that big of a deal, but I wore pants to church pretty often, and even though we were allowed to, even though my pants were professional, nice Sunday wear, there were a lot of people that looked at me. And when I started wearing pants to church, this was a new YSA that I went to, a new ward, I didn't get a calling, and I think there are other reasons for it than that, but they were all because of that idea of perfectionism. Because when I was at that ward, I cared a lot about what people thought of me, and I wanted people to see me as someone who was dedicated to the gospel, as someone who loved Christ, as someone who cared about what the church had to say, and who read the Bible every night and prayed twice or more every day, and did their best to encourage their friends to do that with them. I was like that, and my hair was pink, and I had my nose ring, and I had tattoos, and I was a convert, but I still wasn't given a calling, and I attribute that to the perfectionism in the church. It is hand in hand with all of the expectations that they have upon people. Church contributes to the opioid crisis. There are extremely high numbers of opioid addictions in Utah. Obviously, we can't say that, you know, this is a direct, like, correlation, and that means that the perfectionism causes this, but I'm a believer that if we did look into that further, if we did more research, that there would be a lot of correlation with people feeling like they need to be perfect and taking these opioids to cope with the fact that they felt like they weren't good enough. Along with this perfectionism, there's this idea that you need to get married young, you need to go on a mission if you're a guy, you need to decide to go on a mission as a girl if you're not getting married yet, you need to go to BYU, you need to look like what guys would like, you need to help men act more worthy and act more Christ-like around you. You need to put on this persona that you're really nice and not in any way criticizing so that you can attract men. You're expected to get married at a certain point in time when you get home from your mission. You're expected to act a certain way when you're on a mission. You're expected to say certain things in church. If you say that you disagree with something in church, people are going to ask you not to speak again, or people are going to come up to you and not apologize, but say, I know that you were upset by the way something was said and that you disagree, and then insert excuse. No apology. And this give thanks thing is promoting that perfectionism by people posting photos of their mission, their temple marriage, their children, showing, hey, like, I'm on your timeline, church. It doesn't hurt other people that are doing that, but people who feel like they're behind on where the church wants them to be because they didn't go to BYU, or because they're not married yet, or because they haven't had kids yet, or because they came home from their mission early, or because they didn't decide to go on a mission. That hurts to those people, because seeing these give thanks, it's like, other people expect me to post this, and they're gonna think I'm not as good as so-and-so, like all these other members of my ward, because I couldn't do those things, maybe because of mental health or physical health, or that's not your personal preference, and that's okay. But the Give Thanks campaign is hurtful to those people, and it's promoting this perfectionism because everyone is posting their give thanks with a photo, and it's like, I have to have like really nice photos for my mission, or really nice engagement photos, or photos in front of the temple. It's like virtue signaling. I may not have looked as righteous if I didn't post a photo of the temple, so tomorrow I should post a photo of the temple. This person looks more righteous than me, but I know I believe in the gospel more than they do, so I'm gonna post more pictures. It's very toxic. Yeah, I think I already talked about this, but it's just another issue I have with the whole ex-Mormon thing. It's like, hey, you can participate in this even if you were inactive, or even if you're an ex-Mormon. Like, it doesn't have to be church related, but that's hard. Because if you say anything that you are really grateful for that's not within the church values, people are just going to say you're being disrespectful, and people are going to say that you're being disrespectful on purpose, trying to hurt their feelings on purpose, even when this is something that you're extremely grateful for. And for example, I'm extremely grateful that I was able to leave the church, and I'm extremely grateful that my fiance left with me, and I'm extremely grateful that he supported me leaving. I'm extremely grateful for all of the people who I read tweets from on Twitter, or whose YouTube videos I watched, who made me feel like I had the power to leave and that it would be good for me. Because as a member of the church, even if you're questioning leaving, you have this indoctrination in your head where you're like, my life isn't going to be as good if I leave. A lot of people are going to be really mad if I leave. No one's going to support me. And you have to have people saying the opposite of those things to feel more comfortable in leaving. And that's something that I feel very strongly about, and I'm very, very grateful for. But if I posted that, I know a lot of people would be angry, and I have posted stuff like that. And people were angry, and people were still trying to convince me that I made a mistake leaving. or that I wasn't honoring the hashtag. That's just my other problem with it, is there are also people, Mormons, who will comment on that stuff and say they support you and hope that you found happiness after leaving, but it's just fake. Like, it's not always fake, but there are a lot of people who post that stuff because they're like, I have to be nice no matter what, but they don't truly believe it, because in the back of their mind they're going to want you to come back, and they believe that you would be happier if you stayed a member of the church. So yeah, that's like a bulk of the reasons of why I don't like it. Feel free to disagree or agree down below, because I would rather not have hate comments. So yeah, there's a lot more I could say. The Give Thanks campaign in a whole isn't that bad, but I just think that as a prophet of the church, Russell M. Nelson could have said a lot better things during a pandemic that would have, helped people's health. Maybe he could have done both, but guess what? He didn't tell people to stay home and always wear a mask. And that's very important right now around Thanksgiving. And even though it's okay to be grateful, it's not something that you have to shove down everyone's face on social media. It's not something that you have to feel like you have to do every day. Being grateful and feeling like you need to be grateful all the time can be toxic. Sometimes there are hard days when it's difficult to find something to be grateful for. Even though there may be things, it's not healthy to think I need to find something profoundly grateful about every day, like something that's so profound that I can post it and people will like it. That's not healthy. It's okay to post and say, I'm grateful for being alive, and maybe I'm just grateful that other people want me to be alive. Or just saying that you're grateful for being able to rest. That wouldn't get as many likes on social media, so it's not what we're being bombarded with right now, but those are some things that I feel grateful for, and that are good to feel grateful for. And it's okay to feel like you're not grateful to be alive. It's hard. It's very hard sometimes. And yeah, I'm just here to tell you, like, it's okay to be grateful about leaving the church. It's okay to not like this campaign. It's okay to like some posts and not like some posts. But it's just not okay how the church handles its PR. Because that's what this is. It's basically just a PR stunt for the church, which I can expand on, and I will say a little bit, because the church has told people to fast from social media and says that it's bad, that we need like a break, that we shouldn't see stuff on social media, which is directly correlated with bad news that has come out about the church. So I mean, it looks pretty bad when you figure in that they didn't want people online when bad stuff was being posted about them. And my other issue with that is just that they'll turn around and say social media is such an easy way to promote our faith. It's so easy to reach a lot of people who we care about. So it floods social media, and it also kind of hides other things that people might be posting about that are also important, or things that people are grateful for that aren't about the church. So yeah, anyway, feel free to subscribe. I might post more videos, hopefully better quality. Hopefully I'm more prepared and have more of a list to go off of instead of thinking about everything up in my head. But yeah, you can take this just with a grain of salt if you want, but I really wanted to share my perspective. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure that you're drinking enough water. Remind yourself that it's okay to be grateful for small things, especially if even if they're not like in any way church related, even if it has nothing to do with leaving. Yeah, hope you're having a good day. Make sure you eat something today, and take care of yourself, and remind yourself that you're worthy and you deserve good things, and you don't need a God or religion to tell you that. Bye.